Born into poverty, how did this unassuming mill girl later earn the deep respect of Africa's fiercest tribal warriors who laid down their weapons and heeded her words of peace? What triggered this extraordinary transformation? Her name was Mary Slessor. Mary Mitchell Slessor was born on December 2, 1848 in Gilcomston, Aberdeen, Scotland, into a poor working-class family, the second of 7 children born to Robert and Mary Slessor. Her father was a shoemaker by trade but struggled with alcoholism, while her deeply religious mother worked as a skilled weaver. The family could not afford a proper education for the children. In 1859, the family sold their furniture to fund a move to Dundee. At age 11, Mary Slessor began work as a half-timer, splitting her day between the mill and school, before transitioning to full-time labour at 14. She eventually became an expert linen weaver and jute worker, operating heavy power looms for up to 12 hours a day. She handed her first earnings to her mother.
"Your first fruit is sacred. I love you, daughter."
And sacrificed her own needs to become the family's main support. Rising at 5 each morning for household duties, she stole moments to study, reading at the looms during commutes and late at night, despite the meagre education provided by factory schools and Sunday school libraries. Tragedy followed when Mary's father and both brothers died of pneumonia, leaving only Mary, her mother, and 2 sisters. One winter afternoon, an elderly widow gathered neighbourhood girls and vividly warned them of hell's eternal fire, describing the pain of placing a hand into flames as a faint image of souls burning forever if unrepentant. This pierced Mary's heart, driving her to repentance and faith. She attended Wishart church services and Sunday school. In family life, Mary questioned her mother on matters of faith.
"Well, it says that he that repents and is baptized shall be saved."
But it does not say that he that repents and is not baptized shall be damned.
Around the age of 15, while teaching Sunday school in the Penn slum, a gang of street boys confronted her. One swung a sharp lead weight at her face, slicing her forehead, yet she stood her ground, invited them to class, and by the end of the day, their leader had become a Christian. Later, at the Wishart penned mission, she faced a bully wielding a whip, driving lads into her meeting by force. Calmly, she offered to bear the lashes herself if he would enter, saying, "Yes, and far more. Go on, I mean it." Shaken, the man followed her inside, and there surrendered his life to Christ. In 1874, at the age of 27, the death of the famed missionary explorer David Livingstone stirred Mary to action. She identified with him.
"Then cannot I be a missionary just like him?"
The memory of her brother John's death deepened her resolve.
"Could I fill my brother's place?"
Encouraged by her mother, she offered herself to the Foreign Mission Board in May 1875, and despite little formal education and only factory skills, she was accepted as a teacher for Calabar. The board did not know that her girlhood dream had always been to be a missionary to Calabar. She then went to Edinburgh for training. After completing her training in Edinburgh, she sailed aboard the SS Ethiopia on August 5, 1876, and observing the cargo in the ship's hold.
Scores of casks, and only one missionary.
After a month at sea, she arrived in Calabar. Overwhelmed by the sights, alligators along the waterways and fortified enclosures once used to hold enslaved Africans before they were loaded onto ships.
"Lord, the task is impossible for me, but not for thee. Lead the way and I will follow. Why should I fear? I am on a royal mission. I am in the service of the King of Kings."
When she met a local chief, he warned her.
"Turn back, for the warriors beyond this ridge will never suffer a woman to stand before them."
"When you think of the woman's power, you forget the power of the woman's God. I shall go on."
She lived in the missionary compounds, studying the language intensely and practicing it daily with the locals, but soon contracted malaria and was forced to return to Scotland in 1879 to recover. After 16 months, she returned to Calabar, this time settling in Old Town, 3 miles inland. To support her mother and sisters in Scotland, she sent much of her salary home and lived frugally herself, eating native food and sharing the life of the people among whom she served. In 1888, 2 deputies inspecting the mission were struck by Mary's friendships and her confident command of the local language.
We are impressed by what you're doing here. You can speak their language well.
After 3 more years, Mary returned to Scotland on another health furlough, caring for her ailing mother and sister.
It's going to be okay.
While speaking in churches about Calabar.
Enduring principles that guide us.
She then returned to Africa and ventured farther from central Calabar. During this 3rd mission, news reached her of her mother's and sister's deaths, plunging her into a deep loneliness. She wrote, "There is no one to write and tell my stories and nonsense to." Yet she also found a strange relief, adding, "Heaven is now nearer to me than Britain, and no one will worry about me if I go up country." She pressed the mission establishment in Calabar to develop practical vocational training for the Efik people. In August 1888, Mary travelled north to Okoyong, a region where male missionaries had been killed. Believing that her teaching and her womanhood would be less threatening, she spent 15 years among the Okoyong and the Efik. Living simply in traditional Efik houses, her preference for lone stations often clashed with missionarities, earning her a reputation as an eccentric. Yet in Britain, she was celebrated as the White Queen of Okoyong.
God loves us so much, He sends Jesus Christ to us. We can know God.
She immersed herself in evangelism, the settlement of disputes, the encouragement of trade, social reform, and the promotion of Western education. Among the Efik people of Calabar and the more warlike Okoyong tribes farther inland, the birth of twins was regarded as a dreadful curse. Superstition taught that one child must have been fathered by an evil spirit and the other by a human man. Yet since no one could know which was which, both infants were considered defiled. To prevent disaster from falling on the family or village, the twins were often abandoned in the bush, sometimes sealed in clay pots to die from exposure, starvation, or wild animals, or killed outright. Whenever reached Mary of a twin birth, she knew what would follow, and she would rush, sometimes at night, by canoe or on foot through dense jungle and across rivers to the village.
I will take the child, no need to abandon it.
No, you'll be in danger.
She confronted families, chiefs, and even executioners, demanding that the babies be handed over. Ignoring mission rules, she adopted many of them into her own growing family. The people expected her to suffer ill effects or even die for being in league with a devil. But when she remained unharmed, they concluded that the power of her God was protecting her. On one occasion, she physically restrained a witch doctor who was about to pour boiling oil on a woman. Those who witnessed it were astonished that she survived such a direct challenge to traditional spiritual authority. Mary frequently travelled barefoot through jungles filled with leopards, snakes, and hostile warriors, carrying nothing but her Bible. Her ability to pass unharmed through such dangers led many to believe she possessed a supernatural immunity to harm. Slessor successfully intervened to stop the practice of trials in which suspects were forced to drink poison to determine their guilt. She campaigned against human sacrifice rituals that often followed the death of a village dignitary. On one occasion, she prevented mass killings by vigilantly guarding prisoners who were marked for death after a chief's passing.
You cannot touch them. You have to go through me.
By physically obstructing these rituals, she directly challenged the spiritual authority of local witch doctors, figures others feared would unleash immediate supernatural retribution. Her continued survival in the face of both natural threats and perceived spiritual dangers sealed her legendary status as one who walked under divine protection. Before long, many locals affectionately called her Ma, meaning mother. Local chiefs came not only to trust her but to fear her moral authority, often seeking her counsel as mediator and judge. In the early 1890s, a bitter dispute between 2 Okoyong clans escalated to the brink of armed conflict. When Mary learned that warriors from rival villages were gathering for battle, she rushed barefoot through the jungle to the site. She placed herself physically between the armed groups, standing boldly on a log, her arms raised.
Stop! Are you going to spill blood like this? Think of your mothers, your wives, your children. You know me, I have never lied to you. Listen to your ma. I care for you too. But if you want to fight them, you have to kill me first.
Then she commanded them to lay down their weapons. The warriors obeyed, piling their rifles and guns in heaps on either side of her, mounds rising more than 5 feet high. She then mediated the dispute and negotiated a peaceful settlement. In 1892, Mary became vice-consul in Okoyong, presiding over the native court. In 1905, she was named vice president of the Ikot Obong Native Court. In 1913, she received the Order of St. John. Her health deteriorated in later years, yet she persisted. Throughout her missionary life, Mary felt continually called farther into Africa, beyond safe zones, despite warnings of headhunters and cannibals, never confining herself to a single village. For the last 4 decades of her life, Mary endured recurring malaria fevers dating back to her posting in Calabar. The fevers gradually weakened her. In early January 1915, at her remote station near Ikoku, a severe fever struck, and she died on January 13, 1915. Her body was carried down the Cross River to Duketown, Calabar, Nigeria, for a colonial state funeral, her coffin draped with the Union Jack. As her body was laid to rest, honoured by both colonial officials and the tribes she had served, the story of Mary Slessor reached its close. A chapter of extraordinary sacrifice, the life of a humble mill girl who helped alter the fabric of African society.